Okay, we are going to continue the Sefer Eftecha b'Mashal Pi in Ot Lamed. We're going to do the Shi'ur B'Zrat Hashem B'Leneder for Eliyahu ben Burcho, also for Yosef ben Angela, and for my grandmother's yahrzeit today, for Berta Bat Frichom. We're going to speak about today, B'Zrat Hashem B'Leneder, about what does it mean not to waste time in this world, because we're going to see over here that each and every one of us is a guest. The only question is, do we associate to ourselves that we are a guest, or do we feel that we are here forever? Those that we'll see over here, he's going to say those people that feel that they are here forever and they're not only a guest, he calls them a shoteh. Because everybody knows that one day he's going to leave, and everybody only, what does they do? They do accumulate until one day they just drop. Whatever, you guys get the whole drift. The Rav Chaim brings down over here, HaShoheh b'merchakim l'tzorech parnasa u'b'mvatel et zmano larik. What happens if you have a person, he says that he goes to a distance for his parnasa, but at the same time while he's there, he wastes his time. Klal shel davar. He says over here, you have to know, the rule of the thing is, tzarich leida, a person needs to know, sheba le'olam hazeh rak al hazman miyuchad, that each person came to this world only for a designated amount of time. A person has to believe that. And I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something. You know, they say that you have the date of birth and then a person has the date of death. I'll make it very simple. I don't care when a person was born. Let's say a person is born in the year 2000. Make it simple. 2,120, you ain't going to be here. Make it 120 years, max it out. 2,120, you ain't going to be here. So what are you doing? So you think you're doing this, you're working, you're trying to conquer the world. But in the end you will see, time is coming close to the day of death, and still you're wasting your time. Because once again, we do not believe that we are here as guests. We think we're going to live forever. Not knowing that that's our neshama that knows that is going to continue living on forever. Bring me a warm water. Thank you. So he says over here, a person needs to know that he came to this world only for a designated amount of time. Bishvil Torah mitzvot. He came to this world in order to be able to learn Torah and to do mitzvot. And in the future he's going to return back to the upper world to be able to get the reward, whatever he accumulated over here. Like the pasuk says, Asher anochim mitzavchei hayom la'asotam. Like Hashem says, I command you to do today. Ve'amru Chazal, what does it mean to do today? Thank you. Hayom la'asotam u'machar lekabel scharam. Why does the pasuk say to do it today? Because you do it today and you're going to get the reward tomorrow in the next world. And therefore he says, Hayetzer mifatel adam bebachuroto. Right, the Yitzhar always entices a person while he's still young. She'od yesh lo shanim harbe lichyot. He has many years to live. Ube'emet ta'udhu. In truth, this is a very big mistake. Kemo shekatavnu l'may, like has been written above. Shekol yom nitan lo me'et haborei barach becheshbon mitzumtzam. Every single day that is given to the person is given to him precisely, Rabotai. A person will not outlive, unless he does mitzvot Torah, something else, but I'm trying to say in general speaking, a person will not outlive a day longer than what is destined for him to come. So if a person, let's say a person right now is 30, 20, so he thinks, wow, it's 120, I have another 100 years, let me relax. Rabotai, how do you know what Hashem wrote in the book, Chas v'Shalom? How do you know what year he put? You don't know. So here you are, you're thinking you're going to live half to 120. Rabotai, don't have to say how many people we see what's going on. We see how low people are going left and right, and still people living life as everything is okay. In any event, I just want to tell you the story outside, then I want to get over here to the bottom of the Nimshal, because of the time. There was a person that he left from work. He was very poor, so he went out to a very distant country. He says to Africa, to find a job, meaning to bring money home in order to be able to sustain his family and kids. When he came to Africa, they told him, why are you wasting your time? We know over here that you came over here, you're renting the place, you're coming over here, But why aren't you looking for a job? He says, look, I have 20 years to go, so I still have time. So everybody says, I don't know. We live over here, we're still making money. But you as a stranger, you don't care for it. He's like, I still have time, I still have time. Until eventually the time comes and he has to go back home. And all the people in the city tell him, you left for 20 years, did you bring anything back? He said, every time I said I have time, I have time. Rabotai, you know how it is, one after another. Before you know it, you don't accomplish anything. That's what happens with a lot of people. I'll do it tomorrow. And when did they do it? They never do it. Because remember, tomorrow's burden, tomorrow's problems, tomorrow's challenges come. You didn't take care of it today, it's going to be tomorrow. I'll tell you, they say, that might be a bad example, but it's not proper. Let me use a horse. If you ever seen in Manhattan, the horses, when they used to have horses in Fifth Avenue, do you know that if they wouldn't clean away without the bag, if the horse poops and they don't clean it away, one day, do you know how much starts piling up? And then you know how bad the stench starts coming? And then the second day, and third day, and fourth day, do you know by a week time, the stench, you can't even bear it. I remember I had customers from in the city that they were willing to sell their place in Manhattan because of the stench. Whatever, just take the apartments. We can't do this no more. It was very bad. What I'm trying to tell you, the same thing with us. If we don't take care, if we don't do things on time, all it does is pile and pile and pile. And then what do you start doing? You start cramming. That's what people do right in college or in high school, whatever it is. They start cramming the night before, and before they know it, they blow their fuse out. In any event, so he says over here, so this guy, he says over here, he brings down over here, right? That's what I explained, that you're here a stranger, you left your birthplace to come over here to make money, now you're going to go back and you have nothing. You should have thought every single day, you should have been careful with every single day that you were here in Africa to be able to make money, so when you go back home, you have what to bring to your children. And what is the answer back? That I'm only here 20 years. Well, I still have time, correct? This kind of answers that people say, I still have time. For these type of people, he calls them fools. Because you know why? Who guarantees you that tomorrow a person is going to wake up? How do you know what brings tomorrow? Chas v'shalom. That's what he says. V'nimshal muvan me'elav. This is what I want to read. The nimshal is understood by itself. Nishmat ha'adam kishurda ba'aretz. He kemo ger mamash. Our souls, when they came down to this world, they're considered to be like strangers. Literally strangers. Our souls. They don't belong here. The body doesn't even belong to you. Like, but which wouldn't be the case, like your neshama is a resident in the heavens. After when your neshama leaves after 120, is going back to Hashem. Our neshama came to this world to be a stranger in this world, to be able to reach Torah, to learn Torah and to do mitzvot. Because once you're up in heaven, you're not able to gain anything. Rabotai, once a person goes, how do we say? Bemet chofshi. What is the dead? If a person dies, we know he's free. So why does the Gemara Masech Shabbat have to say Bemet chofshi? To tell you that not only is he dead, but he's free from mitzvot and Torah. And that is the last thing you ever want to do, Rabotai. So he says over here, V'niktav lo zman miyuchad al zeh. And Hashem already designated a designated time for you, how long you're going to be in this world. Rabotai, and only afterwards, after a person's time ends over here, his neshama is going to go back up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A person needs to contemplate Al kol yom v'yom, on every single day, Ve'al kol sha'a v'sha'a, on every single moment. Rabotai, once a person came into this world, once a person already becomes a man, meaning once he has already seichel, he starts to recognize why he's in this world, knowing that you are a stranger, you shouldn't waste a day, and you shouldn't waste even an hour on nonsense, on idle things. Why? Because Rabotai, the day will come when you're going to have to return your neshama back, and that's going to be the biggest Gehinom, where you'll see how much you could have accomplished, like this guy in Africa, and you didn't accomplish. So B'ezrat Hashem, Rabotai, may we be able to grow in Torah and do mitzvot, because everybody knows every single day, you know what they say. I think it was Rabbi Israel Tabor. He used to say that why do people make birthdays? I don't want to get into the whole thing that it's a very accomplishment. Hashem gave you another year. That's when you make a party. But Rabbi Israel Tabor, I believe I saw in his book, he says something very fascinating. You know why people make birthdays? Because they get a year older, a year closer to the grave. They feel depressed. They feel bad how much they didn't accomplish. So they make a birthday to try to outbalance it. It's like a person who gets drunk to not feel pain. Or a person to try to take antidepressants not to feel depressed. The same thing with us, Rabotai. That's why do not waste your time on shtuyot. Baruch Adonai Olam, Amen, Amen, Rabbi